let me introduce real quick. I'm Ed Hubbard. Thank you, Liz. This is Don Lewis.
Hello.
These are my friends. There's Rihanna back there, Lady Crystal, Rihanna, Rodney. Any one of these people you can ask for questions. Liz Hamilton there, our youngest member of the clergy. And you can ask questions around anything it is. But we're going to go ahead and start with a class called Learning Magic. Basically, what does it take to be a witch? Our big thing that we teach every day. And people ask us is, can you really be a witch? Can you be a witch? And is it really kind of like, what do we mean by that? I mean, do we mean, can we cast spells? Can we turn people into frogs? Some days more than others. I'd like to do it a little bit better. Do we fly brooms? Do we have warts? You hear all sorts of ideas and stereotypes. Are we like Linda the Good Witch? Actually, we have a good authority on the internet explains that Linda the Good Witch is not terribly pleased that we opened the school. It's true. It says it's on the internet, so it has to be true. But we tend to have fun. What I mean when we talk about being a witch, you're going to hear a number of different teachers. You're going to hear me, you're going to hear Rodney later today talk about it, Rihanna talk about an aspect of being a witch. We have Virginia Powell. Each person interprets it for themselves. First and foremost, let me get out some really kind of misconceptions. First of all, let me get it out of the way. You'll hear it all day. We're not Satanists. In fact, we're pretty adamant about not accepting things that are part of what they call the Satanic Creed. People try to push us with that. We don't accept it. What do we mean this? Our basic core belief is do as you will as it harms none. That's very important to us. It's the idea that we are going to do the best job we can, do what we can, and bring basically not harm to individuals at the end of the day, as much as we can. Hard one to live by. And the other one is in perfect love and perfect trust. And that has a different whole, again, it's a lot of interpretation, but what I mean by it is that at the end of the day that we trust people to be themselves. We love them for what they are, and we accept them for all their flaws and limitations. To get into it, I believe in magic. Understand, I 100% believe magic exists. Magic is the idea of thought, and that thought changes your world. Simply put, I believe what you think can change your world. It doesn't matter how it happens. It doesn't matter why it happens. But there's a part of the universe that answers to our thoughts at the most basic level. Now you always hear about, let me give you some of the real easy anecdotes. You think about a friend and they call on the telephone. I don't know if anyone's had any of that experience. Or you start thinking about, I know it happens is that you start seeing different ideas. You want money, suddenly money pops up from somewhere. It's called magical thinking. And right now magical thinking is under assault by scientific things. It says we can't change our world by what we think. The world is made up of a whole bunch of rules. We were, as kids, children, we were magical thinkers. I mean, at one time, I wanted to be an astronaut. Well, I still do, but, I didn't want to go through all that training. But as a child, we thought it was possible. President of the United States, we thought it was possible. That we could fly was possible. I don't know. Anything else you thought you could do as a kid that you thought you could do as a kid, you end up being like fantastic. Like, how about rock star? Today, we live out more of our fantasies. If American Idol, let me kick out American Idol. If American Idol is nothing, it is that wishful, magical thinking that what you think and do can change your world. That anything could happen at any time. American Idol is a part of that. Our culture is entering a time in which what we think is becoming even more important. We're becoming a thinking society. One of the reasons why Wicca is making a resurgence. Wicca is a thinking religion. I will not ask you to take anything on faith. I don't. There's certain things I do take assumptions on faith. I mean, I assume there's a God. I assume my version of God is that God is omniscient and transcendent and includes everything. I get into the idea that I am God, thou art God, we are God. We're all part of it. It isn't any separation to it. I believe that nature is sacred and that it too responds to us. I've gone into forests and heard birds sing, and actually it made sense to me. I mean, I actually could hear them talking. Not like in English. You know, that's one of the things they talk like birds. And I've had some interesting experiences in that way. That's magical. I find all sorts of magical little weird things. Teapot right in front of you. That's tea, right? That's actually a flower. Now, I'll show you do me a favor for those. And so, things change all the time. Things can go from being very dried out, can go very plain, very ordinary, can become very beautiful things relatively quickly. It's all a matter of the way you're thinking. It's just a matter of the way you think. So, does this mean that I believe you should have Pollyanna thoughts all the time? That'll, if you do that, that'll get you to magic. Well, for some people, but magic's a little bit further than that. It's about focused thought. You need to have something focused. It changes as you focus things. What do I mean by focus? Wanting it, needing it, encouraging it. The same way as any athlete, same as any students, the same as any profession, you have to have a focus of what you want. For me, my focus is to teach. I wanted to reveal and teach ideas behind the Wicca. And so I had to take a chance. Today, we are the first public institution of our kind. We're in the middle of a very small town in a building that was very inexpensive. And we live pretty close to the ground, but we're living our life. We're living a Wiccan life. It's one of the things we do. And we did it through the magic of discovering the internet. Believe me, if you would have asked Don 15 years ago if the internet would have been his answer, he would have gone, what's the internet? Today, Don is probably one of the better known people on the internet. The internet, in and of itself, is a form of magic. Ask anyone who uses it, ask anyone who existed before the internet, like most of us, some of us in here, you'll see it. And what it was the idea that, and I'll tell you how it is. At first it was a thought, and they're using crystals, silicone, minerals, things that we Wiccans always talk about. They put them in configurations, scientific rules, principles, ideas, and they got the energy to move as they wanted it to open up these, yes-no gates. All they want to do is get energy to answer to us yes-no answers. And from that, we built the computers, we built this electronic things, and we built this incredible ability to communicate over incredible distances. And I'll tell you, in a scientific way, it's like telepathy. It's on the verge of being telepathy. A good example of it is that which magical thinking was the Star Trek communicators. How many people remember those from the 60s, right? Star Trek communicators. Take out your cell phones. Is there any difference between them? The thought became the reality. This is what is important to understand. All magic is about the thought becoming the reality. And all the different steps of opening your mind to that reality. To be a witch is to accept impossible things. Might be possible. That's a really hard idea. I'm not going to be a 6-foot basketball player and do things like that. I have to accept that, unless people talk about polymorphic transformations. I don't do that, and we live in a kind of world that allows us to do that on screen, on television. We can do it on our computers now. We can draw pictures of it. We can imagine it, and we're able to create it in some form of reality. But